Swaddy Cup. My name is Alex Gong, head coach for the Fairtex fighting team. Today we're going to work on the basic kick to the body, the essential fighting weapon of Muay Thai. In this class we're going to work on the distancing, how to create power, getting the contact area, and drills and how to work with Thai pads with practicing the kick to the body. Today we're going to work with Johnson Fairtex, one of our world champions here at the Fairtex team, and will be partnering with me to show different techniques. Let's get ready to go. Okay, now we're going to work on the body kick, learning the different types of techniques we can apply to kick to the body. There's three primary kicks that we use for different ranges. We kick to the body with our shin contact area, and that's the contact area goes from the mid part of the shin all the way down to the lower end of the shin, right above the ankle. We're going to work on three types of kicks to the body: long range, short range, and heavy kick. My partner Johnson and I are going to go through some demonstration drills. I want you to pay attention. If you have a partner, you can work in with us. Follow me. Fighting stance. Now notice how when I start off working the practicing the kick to the body, I'm in a kicking range. I'm not in a real close range trying to practice my kick like I would for boxing. I'm in a kicking range. Good 4 to 5 feet away from each other. Keep your fighting stance. And at first we're going to just get used to stepping forward. The big thing to watch out for stepping forward is to step out at 45 degrees. And you'll learn as we go through the tape why it's so important. And follow me. As I step forward, my lead leg is going to step out 45 degrees. Notice how I step out. Again, let's do it 2 times. Step 1. Back to my original stance, and 2. Okay? Now when I push my kick forward, I use that momentum stepping out at 45 degrees to thrust my kick into my target. Now I'm going to use the heavy kick to Johnson body. Stepping in, 1. And back to my original stance. Every time I strike a kick or any type of weapon I throw out, I want to come back to my original stance. This is my ready stance. I can defend from this position, I can attack from that position. That's something you need to ask yourself at all times. Look at your stance, look where you stand and say, can I attack, can I defend? Watch again, stepping forward to the kicks of the body. As I kick forward, now you're going to see something a little bit different. I want you to pay attention as I thrust my arm and shoulder forward. This creates power. 1, 2, 3. And back again. 1, 2, 3. Shh. Every time I kick, I'm kicking right between the elbow and the shoulder. Fighting stance. Now, just to get a good rhythm and drill, you can work with your partner. It's good to do this back and forth, just to get the distancing. So what we do at Fairtex is we kick back and forth, counting. 1, 2, 3. I kick. Shh. And Johnson comes back. 1, 2, 3. Shh. Come back to fighting stance. Notice how we come right back in our original stance. What can we do from here? Attack and defend. Again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, like I said, there's 3 types of kicks that we do to the body. The first kick, what we did was the heavy kick. And as you notice, when I make contact to my target, it's not to the side of the body, but almost right in front. That's the heavy kick, and we focus on being as powerful as possible when we make contact to our target. Now the next kick I'm going to show you is a little bit different. It's still the roundhouse kick, but it's what we call the long kick. And it's used a lot of times, not necessarily for heavy power, but to land points. In fighting stance, now watch. I still step out 45 degrees. As I step out, I'm kicking with my leg a little bit longer. Instead of before I was turning my hip over, now you're going to see me reach a little bit. So I get a little bit extra length on my kick. Fighting stance, 1, 2, 3, pop. 1, 2, 3, pop. And you notice I'm kicking a little bit lower on my leg. Now it gives me a little bit more extension. Now we'll do it back and forth. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. That's the long kick. It's really good for, especially when somebody's been blocking to higher kicks and they're good at catching your leg. We emphasize using the long kick. It's harder to grab. Now the next kick, what we do for the kick to the body is called the short kick. It's exactly what the name is. It's short. So when I kick, a lot of times you see that my leg's been straight. This is the only kick when I kick to the body that I bend my rear leg. As I step forward, watch again, nice and slowly. 1, 2, 3. I kick right here. Notice how it's bent. Now this is good so if my partner, my opponent starts to grab my leg, I can pull my leg out and get out right away. So if I have a guy who's every time I kick with my long kick, watch again, fighting stance, I go to kick a regular heavy kick and he grabs, and I'm stuck. I know he's going to be doing this. The next kick I can throw, can be a short kick, and it prepares me to get out of it. 1, 2, 3. I can pull out easier. Okay? Those are the different kicks that you can throw. Now let's practice them in different ways. Fighting stance. Now it's really important to have the basic kick of Thai boxing down, because everything that you apply from here on is going to be the fundamentals of what we're learning. What we just did was to kick to the body, short, long, and heavy. As you notice, and I kick, I'm practicing. I kick, I practice, I land my target, and I come right back in a fighting stance. This is making my footwork, my original fighting stance stronger. If we practice this at the beginning of our Muay Thai training, especially for those beginners, we can build a lot from this. So this is elementary training, and this is the first weapon that we always want to give people in Muay Thai. Now, watch my leg again. As I kick, my lead leg is going to stay as long as possible. The same thing with my rear leg, my lead leg. Okay? Again, as we did when we were grabbing each other, I step forward, 1, 2, 3, and we make sure that everything's straight. My hand is down here. You notice my shoulders going forward. My standing leg is straight on the balls of the feet. This allows me to get power and pivot into my target. As you notice, my weight also isn't leaning backwards. My weight is leaning right into my target, so I have maximum thrust into my target, and I come back down. So we do this drill, catching our legs back and forth, just to make sure that we have the right fundamentals of the kick down. So Jones Townsend kick into my body, and I catch his leg. 1, 2, 3, kick. And I hold his leg, make sure that his shin is turning down into my body area. He's on the balls of his feet, and his body's standing tall. Yeah, again, back and forth. You just do this a couple of times. 1, 2, 3. Good, and back. 1, 2, 3. Good. This is some of the techniques that you can do with your partner. Go slowly with this and make sure you have the fundamentals down before you start doing this quickly. Okay? Again, the foot position is really important. One of the primary things you have to watch out for from throwing the right kick is the line of fire that you're walking into. So the danger area of me walking forward all the time is my knockout zones, usually my head. That's what I want to protect the most. So as I'm walking forward to make contact, I'm going into my target to kick, I have to watch out for the line of fire, which is straight in. Watch it, what could happen if I don't step out 45 degrees and step straight in. 1, 2, 3, boom. The bad thing about this is I'm standing on one leg, so my ability to absorb the shot is going to be damaged. Again, I want to avoid this. We're going right in. The way to avoid that is by stepping out 45 degrees. And you can do this drill with your new students, even your advanced students, to get the timing down. We do this a lot. So we come together. We count 1, 2, 3. And at the same time I fire to the body, he tries to throw a shot to my head. We get our timing down. We also build confidence in dealing with that big, heavy right hand. That's everybody's primary weapon, especially in American fighters. Fighting stance. 1, 2, 3. Good. You notice how I step out 45 degrees. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. If I were to step forward again, I walk right into that. It's a good drill. We'll do it back and forth. Just run kicks now. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. 1, 2, 3. Good. Throw a good right punch to your partner. If you're not throwing a good punch, they're not going to have the real motion and real line of fire that is going to be thrown at them when they really fight. These are very important contact points to make sure that your students are learning, or yourself that you're pushing in all your training. Okay. Now we worked on the rear leg. This is your primary weapon, but you have to be a versatile fighter, having both weapons and limbs available to make the same type of attacks. So now we're going to work on the lead leg. My left leg is actually a faster leg because it's in front, it's closer to my target. But one thing that we don't want to do is switch our stance before we kick, because our target, our opponent, is going to know now we're getting prepared for the left kick. Fighting stance. Now before I make my contact, the same mechanics that I did for the right kick, I'm going to use for the left. Only now I'm going to reposition by stepping out with my right leg at 45 degrees. Fighting stance again. Watch, my balance is both feet is tapping. I step out 45 degrees. Now it changes my stance. Before I step out, I want to make sure that I don't telegraph it as much as possible. I step, reposition, and kick, and come back into my original stance. Again, same concepts apply for the left leg as they do the right. I'm stepping out 45 degrees away from the line of fire. Fighting stance again. Watch me slowly. 1, 2, 3, and I come back. Fighting stance. Now watch as I step in that my lead leg, which will be my right leg, is on the ball of the feet, and then my left hand pivots all the way through, so I can throw power. In your mind, don't think of kicking a target, but kicking through a target, like you were swinging a baseball bat all the way through. Fighting stance again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. In your mind, think of your kick like your golf swing. It's not the power, it's the mechanics that create power and distance. Shadow boxing. One of the best ways you can practice your technique, especially by yourself. When you shadow box, you're not limited to working with a fixed target, a fixed position. Heavy bags, partners, Thai pad training, they fix you in one position. It is impossible for you to kick across the room when your target's at one side. You have to be where your target is. When you shadow box, you have free movement. You can move to the left, you can move to the right, you can time things out, and you build a curriculum that works for your personal fighting strategy. One of the ways that Apidate, our head trainer at Fairtex, known as the fighter of the century, recognized by the King of Thailand, said the best training you can ever do is shadow boxing. Well, I believe that it's one of the best things you can do for personalized shadow boxing, and the whole curriculum of Muay Thai is important. But this is one of those things that you cannot miss. Now we can watch Jonsong go through the basics of kicking to the body as he working on kicking to the body using shadow boxing techniques. Jonsong throws his techniques. He's always focused on keeping his balance on both sides of his legs, 50-50. So he doesn't have his weight sitting on his left or his right. He always keeps his body balanced between left and right. Balance is one of the primary things that you're focusing on when you shadow box. Another thing that you want to work on when you shadow box is fluid movement. Just going through and following through your target. What I mentioned before in kicking to the body, it's not necessarily kicking your target, but kicking through your target, having the range of motion. So you notice as Jonsong kicks, he's going 180 degrees going through. So as he kicks, he might turn his back to the other side. Well, this is a technique that we use in shadow boxing just to get the fluid momentum. When we fight, we don't kick this way and leave our back exposed to our opponent. And as always, we focus on keeping our hands up and on the balls of the feet. Good thing to do is to get a lot of ring movement. Move to the left, move to the right, fade in, fade back, step over, and then attack. There's different ways you might attack. You might kick twice to the right, twice to the left, and kicking with all your different ranges of the kick. Like we mentioned before at the beginning of this tape, there's 3 types of kick: short kick, long kick, and heavy kick. Primarily what you practice when you're shadow boxing is your big heavy kick, full extension, and driving with your shin. Let's watch a few more moments while Jonsong demonstrates how we shadow box practicing the body kick. And great. Thank you, Jonsong, for showing us some great techniques. Pad training, essential part of Thai boxing. Now, if you notice, I have all the pads used to train fighters. This is the outfit that professional training uses. I have shin pads, belly pads, and of course the Thai pads. This is the essential meat and potato training tool of Thai boxing. Now, for Thai boxing, it's important to always make sure we focus on power. With this body kick, it's a primary weapon, which means we're not only looking to make contact, but to make damage with it. So we have to make sure that we train our boxers with power. Start off slowly when you're working with new boxers to make sure you have the range and you're used to the power of holding the pads. As people progress with using the Thai pads, they can freely hold the pads, and your boxers and professional fighters can throw their techniques as freely, and you should be able to catch them. Again, start off as like you did in the original part at the beginning of the video, at basic footwork and stances. Now look at Jonsong and I are regular fighting stance at 5 foot to 4 foot apart. And when we work with Thai pads, if you're holding the Thai pads or you're going to be kicking the Thai pads, this is the time to really focus like you're fighting. Keep your mind focused, your attention focused, and act as though the person in front of you is the opponent looking to knock you out. If you can keep this focused, you'll be able to use this focus in your next fighting stance. First, what we're going to do is make sure that we hold the Thai pads for Jonsong's right kick at 45 degrees. But notice how my body is still looked forward. Fighting stance. We're just going to go one kick at a time, but full power. Step in and 1. Heavy. We're going to go, now we start off slowly, but we build up the power. And as you notice, Joseon makes noise as he kicks. That way he releases the air out of his body and makes his body recover a little bit easier. Ready? 2. Good. He comes right back to the original stance. 3. Good. Comes back. Good. Notice how every time he repositions his body. Okay. Fighting stance again. Hush. Good. Come back. 2 times now. Now we pick it up. Good. 2 times again. Good. Notice how, again, he always keeps his lead leg as straight as possible. So when he steps in, he's on the ball of his foot. Again, now we're going to pick it up. We're going to start getting used to the mechanics of the kick. We're going to do 5 kicks this time. Ready? Again. Go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Build that rhythm. Build endurance for your boxers. Always focusing on power. Again, one more time. 5 times. Heavy. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Now with the lead leg, it's the same way we learned it in the beginning when we were doing the pairing drills with our partners. Again, Joseon's going to kick with his left leg. He's not going to telegraph by switching. He's going to step forward and kick me with his left leg. Fighting stance again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Good. He comes right back to fighting stance. Notice how the left leg's in the lead position again. Fighting stance again. 2. Good. 2. Good. Notice how I always keep my shoulders forward. So even though I'm holding Thai pads, I'm moving heavy bag, I'm making my technique strong. I'm working on where my position is. I'm getting used to the full power and speed of a real kick, the distance of a real opponent. Fighting stance again, same thing. Now we're going to go 5 times. Ready? Go. 3, 4, 5. Good. Fighting stance. Now there's a lot of drills you can do with the Thai pads, but right now we're just going to go through a few natural sequences of practicing the body. I might attack Joseon, I might move left and right, and he'll have to adjust, but focusing on return fire with the body kick. Fighting stance. Now we go. Start off. Good. So there's a couple of different sequences you can do with your Thai pads. Right now we're just focused on basic movement, practicing the kick to the body. Again, one of the things you can do to do this is start off slowly, 1 kick at a time, 1 kick at a time, and as you progress through the movement of the round, you start doing 2 kicks. And what we do at Fairtex is when that 30-second bell, because we're always training on the timers like we would for fights, that 30-second bell hits, 50 kicks each side, working the gas and endurance. These are the basics you can work on Thai pads. If you want to know more about how to hold the Thai pads and work the defenses for the kicks, check out our other videos that describe this in more detail. Excellent. Well, that concludes our tape on kicks to the body. Now, there's a lot of things we worked on today, and there's a lot more you can learn on it. But if you focus on the basic techniques that we focused on, the basic points, and that is stepping forward, balance, keeping your body balanced from the left and right side, kicking with the shin area, making sure you have full contact on your target, kicking through your target and not at your target will help you kick more powerfully today. Now there's a lot more that we can learn on strategies and implementation of landing a kick, and we'll learn those as we go into more advanced training techniques. But today, I just want you to focus on the basics, and hopefully you have a lot more fun kicking.